Hey, it's Kim. It is the top of the year, so we know exactly what that means. That means if you're into planners and productivity and stuff, we're talking about goals. So that is what this video is about. But as you can see from the title, I prefer to call it my 2023 reset. And there are several reasons for that. Let me explain. So I have 6 goal categories in my life. They're spiritual, relationships, health and fitness, financial, business, and personal development. So those are the 6 that I have going on in my life. But I feel like I'm in a season of my life where not all 6 of those categories really need such in-depth and specified goal planning, processing, or plotting. So for that reason, that is one part of my reset, so to speak, and I'm narrowing it down to the 3 that I feel need the most of my attention at the moment. And that is exactly why I feel like I need a reset. There are things that I would like to focus on that I want to, I was going to say master, but that's we're not mastering anything, but there are things that I really want to focus on and really want to hone in on that I have let slip by a little bit, or at least if I didn't let them slip by, because I'm in a new season of my life, they need a bit more refinement. So here is where we reset. So the 3 that I feel like I don't need a reset in would be spiritual, relationships, and health and fitness. And that is because I have designed my life in such a way that in those 3 categories, I really am touching on and focusing on them regularly. So the development or the increased productivity that I was seeking in those areas is pretty straightforward. We're on a good path. We are doing extremely well. So I liken it to sort of like a habit tracker. We set up habit trackers in order to establish those habits that we want to make regular things in our lives. So for those 3 categories, so like spiritual, relationships, and health and fitness, there were or are certain habits that I want to make sure I'm touching on a regular basis. So it may be weekly, monthly, daily, quarterly, whatever. So those are the things that I would sort of add to my planner to really plan out when I'm going to attack those items. So because I have been diligent in those 3 areas, it's now that those things are habits already. So I no longer need a habit tracker for those things. There are things that will always happen, definitely gonna happen, it's happening. So I don't need to have such specific and nailed in goals for those areas. They are still definitely on my radar because they are things that are important to me that I always want to make sure I'm focusing on, make sure I am making time for them in my life. So they will remain my objective goal categories, but I'm not focusing on them so specifically for this year. The other remaining 3 that I do need some help with would be personal development, finances, and business. So personal development is kind of a lot. It's like one phrase that I'm using to really encapsulate a lot. So it's not only learning or the classes that I might want to take, but it has some self-care and some hobbies wrapped up all in there. So there are things that I would like to focus on for the coming year that I want to really make sure I prioritize as it relates to my goals. Similarly, I could say that for finances. So there are some goals that we've had previously, and I say we as a family have had previously, and we have reached those financial goals, but now the goals are a little less tangible. So it's not necessarily a dollar amount that I'm trying to hit or anything of that nature, but it's sort of like I want to now start focusing on other aspects of our financial journey. So that's where those goals come in for the coming year. And then lastly, in the area of business, I have really been slacking as it relates to my personal businesses. So I really want to focus on that area. My husband and I have dissolved one business, and there are other businesses that are kind of starting, a business that hasn't been doing anything. So I need to focus my attention in those specific areas and really kind of define what I want to do in those areas for the most part. So that is, I feel, of the three that I'm going to focus on for this year, that's the one that needs the most help. And that's the one where I need the most direction. And I feel like I'm just taking it one day at a time. There's no way, like by the end of this week, by the end of this video, I'm going to be able to outline and define exactly what I need to do for 2023 as it relates to business. But at least I'm trying to get a start. And with that said, I'll also mention that even though I'm calling these 2023 goals, I do not believe that the goals have to absolutely happen within this year or within this 365 days. That's not how I operate. I feel like that causes way too much stress. But these are things that I want to focus on in the new year. The new year to me relates to a fresh start, a new beginning. Who knows where it ends? Maybe I'll be able to do all of this within 9 months. I don't know, but it's not like so stringent that it has to be done within these 365 days. And also, who's to say that 7 months in, I won't want to reorganize, reprioritize, and just scrap certain goals or certain objectives that I have been working on. That is highly possible, and I'm open to that. So that is something that I definitely allow space and allow room for in my thinking and processing as it relates to my goals. So I will be flipping the camera around to give you a view of how I have all of this laid out in my planner. And my planner system, planner setups for the coming year. Previously, I only had goals in my companion planner. So this year I'm doing it slightly different. If you have been on my channel at all, if you haven't, I do have a health and fitness planner journal that I set up, and I have a video all about that. So for instance, the goals that I have related to health and fitness won't be in my companion planner this year. They're going to be in that specific journal. Same thing as it relates to business. I'm using the Sterling Inc. Common Planner this year for my business stuff. So all of my goals related to that will be in that common planner, not in my companion planner at all. I may keep some reference type of materials over in my companion planner, which of course there will be a video on soon on my channel. So make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss that. So I may keep some reference materials over there, but for the most part, all of the details and the nitty-gritty about the goals and about the objectives will be in those respective planners. And really what all of this boils down to in those three main categories that I talked about, I really crave some kind of accountability. I need some kind of accountability to keep me on track for those weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals. So I am thinking about ways to have quarterly check-ins. I'm thinking about ways to have monthly check-ins. And for each goal category, it's not necessarily the same. I won't be doing the exact same types of check-ins or the exact same type of accountability or progress measurements for each and every goal. So that's where it takes a bit of creativity inside my regular planners, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So like I said, what's new for this year is that my goals are in a completely different place, more or less. So what I'm really trying to do is incorporate my goals and focusing on those goals on more of a weekly and monthly basis, more so than I have been in the past. And I'm thinking if I combine it with my planner, my daily planner that I'm looking at every single day, I would be more inclined to make sure I incorporate those goal tasks within my regular schedule. So that is the reason why I'm putting them in here. And full disclosure, I feel like this is making me a little nervous. The idea of this video, primarily because this is an evolving system that I'm setting up. This is entirely new to me, something I've not tried before. I do have a video all about goals, like I mentioned, but this process is just a little bit different. So it's something that I am learning as I go along, and it is definitely evolving. So like I said, I wanted to keep those goal focuses within my daily planner so that I can make sure I'm referring to them frequently. So my inspiration for this comes from Catherine from Sterling Inc. And she does have some amazing videos all about her goal planning process. And I did like that she uses this layout. So this is the month of January 2024 within my planner, so I'm not going to need it this year. The Hobonichi Cousin gives you January, February, and March of the following year. So those spreads I won't need, and I have repurposed them for other things. So I like that Catherine used those same monthly layouts to sort of plot out her routines as they relate to her goals. So that's something I feel like I was missing previously, especially in the areas of personal development, finances, and business. So I was missing out on those routines that would have been associated with those goal categories. So what I did here is a little bit different from the way she has it set up, but I do encourage you to watch all of the videos that she has about goals because they are extremely helpful if you're into this kind of thing. So what I did, this was like a scratch type of paper. I considered printing it out and maybe pasting it over here just to make it look a little neater, but honestly, I don't really care. As long as it functions, it doesn't have to be super pretty. So my monthly goal routine. So that's what I'm calling this little spread. And I have a column dedicated to each of those goal categories: personal development, finances, business, along with spiritual and relationships. And I just added those two because I had 2 extra columns, but also because maybe there are things that I want to make sure I'm doing on a regular basis to ensure that it's just getting scheduled within my month or within my weeks. So that's why I did that. So in that 6th category, the health and fitness, I have a completely separate health and fitness journal, like I mentioned. So that's where all of that stuff will go. So I didn't need an extra column for that goal category. So then I have it broken down by each of the 4 weeks within a month. So week 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I do know that there are months with 5 weeks, but we're just going to ignore that 5th week. So the way that I have it set up is there are certain things I want to make sure I accomplish within my goal categories on a monthly basis. But this is me putting it down in a particular time frame. For instance, in the category of personal development, I want to study something every month. So I want to study a particular subject or something of interest every single month. So it's not necessarily school related. It's just something I want to learn more about. So I imagine that every single month I will have a subject that I'll be studying. And maybe some of those subjects will span multiple months. I don't know. But with regards to personal development, in week 1, I want to define what that subject is going to be for the particular month. Also, another thing that I want to do for week 1 is I want to choose which educational book I'll be reading. So I read a lot of fiction books, but I also do read nonfiction, normally like science-based type of books, maybe productivity, health, just a myriad of different categories, but they are typically nonfiction books, and I do put that in the category of learning. So for the month in week 1, I want to define what book I'm going to be reading for that month. In week 3, I would like to make sure I sit down to review whatever notes or whatever subject area notes that I might have taken about that subject that I'm studying for the month. Week 4, I have action items review. So if there's something regarding this special subject that I'm studying that I want to take action on, that's when in week 4, I'll make sure I schedule some time in my monthly and my weekly to define when that's going to take place. So that is primarily how I'll be using this setup that I have written down. In the category of relationships, I want to make sure that we are planning our date nights on week 2 and week 4. Those are like out of the house type date nights. Other date nights might occur throughout the month, but I just want to make sure when I'm setting up my monthly calendar that when I sit down to do all of this and I set up the dates, that I want to make sure I'm putting these important things on my calendar. So that is the main change as it relates to the goals. When I am planning, I'm actively looking at this spread to make sure that I'm scheduling in the time to do those important things. So when I'm scheduling week 1 of a month, I'm going to ensure that I schedule some time, even in my weekly, to make sure that I'm setting aside a block of time for picking out the subject area, or I'm adding that task to my weekly task list. with regards to relationships, there are other things that I like to schedule, like breakfast with my father, meeting up with my sister, those things that you just don't want to slip by. And then the next thing you know, it's like 3 months since the last time you did that. So that's why I have these categories here to remind me of those things. For finances, for instance, at week 1 of the month, I would like to record our savings info. So record how much we saved in the previous month, any changes, anything that happened. And then in week 3, I would do the same for investment accounts, record how much was invested, record gains and losses. I know I don't have to, and a lot of that for the finances is done digitally, or at least online, but these are things that I want to just make sure I'm looking at during week 3 of whatever the month is. And that is what I would plan into my month when I'm sitting down to do my weekly schedule for that week. So this monthly goal routine is still evolving. I haven't filled in everything that I want to do under each of the categories because I feel like I am improving upon it as I go. Like I said, since this is new, I don't want to put a bunch of tasks in each category and then by March realize that half of them I don't really need, so I'm allowing it to evolve as the year progresses and as I realize what's important and what's not so important that I need to actually write it down. So another thing I'll add is here at the bottom, I do have home/family routines, and this, what I have filled in right now, is mostly regarding cleaning stuff. So when I am sitting down to do my weekly, I look and I see to make sure, laundry is getting done on Wednesday, to make sure I'm ordering groceries on Wednesday, scheduling the grocery delivery for Friday. On Saturday or the weekend, I'm doing what I call like a level set. I'm making sure everything is updated, making sure everything is ready to go for the following week. So that is like a weekly home/family routine. And I say /family just in case we have like practices for the kids or anything that I need to put on particular days so that I can remember them when I am going to schedule and set up a new weekly. And this doesn't necessarily relate to the goals, but I'll show you what I have set up on the additional monthly layouts. So this would have been like February 2024. So what I have here is, so this is basically a list of tasks based on my energy levels. And I did touch on this. I do have a video called Managing Time versus Energy. It was a collaboration that I filmed with the Minimal Sophisticate. I will link that down below, but we discussed how to manage your tasks, especially when you're so busy, but when you have low energy or when it's just a time where you are just not feeling it. So I do find it helpful for me to have a list of things that I can do when I'm just like barely getting out of bed for the day. So I did set up something for high energy, medium energy, and low energy. Medium energy is pretty much like, you're a regular day. High energy is you just feel like Superwoman and you can do it all. Low energy is, like I said, you are barely getting out of the bed for the day. And I do have it broken down into home, work, and business. So things that I could do on those days. This is just a good reference type of list that I do find helpful. And then on the right hand side, I have my ideal day. So I have my timetable. And then on the left, I have what my day would look like for a high energy day. On the right, what my day might look like for a low energy day. And this also helps if you are a type of person who feels like you need to be productive. This helps you still feel productive when you don't want to do anything. You can still kind of keep account of what you actually did get done, even if it might have been only folding laundry. It was something, So that is what I used the February 2024 layout for. I haven't thought of anything to use for the March 2024, but I'm sure I will think of something. And then this, as you saw in my setup, is just my mood board for 2023. All right, so that is how I am tackling and approaching goals for this year. Like I said, I don't feel very comfortable in this type of routine that I set up because it's new. I did do it as I was filling out my monthly for January and as I was filling out my weekly for this first week of January, and it was extremely helpful. That's why I do have it tabbed here so that I can easily refer back to it when I'm setting up those things. And I also felt like I didn't need daily specific tasks. Like I didn't need another section And I believe that's a difference between the example that I saw. I don't necessarily need to define what I'm doing every single day in these goal categories. So I only wanted it to be monthly and weekly, but it has certainly come in handy when I've been scheduling my months and my weeks in my planner. This will be an evolving system. I will definitely add more tasks and more things to make sure I schedule it in throughout the month during specific weeks. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how this evolves. And I will definitely keep you guys updated. I'll do some goal update videos, some goal review videos, if that's something that you're interested in. If you have any questions or any suggestions, or maybe how I can manage this a little bit better, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. And I thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.